Hello and welcome. Today we will be talking about the latest Disney Plus special which was released by Marvel, and it is called Moon Knight. Moon Knight is basically a superhero which is highly inspired by a lot of Egyptian gods. So we have Stephen Grant, who is the normal London person who works in an Egyptian museum as a person as the gift shops.
I think I'm losing it.
We'll catch you on. You're bloody useless, Stevie.
Stephen.
So the show starts with him at the gift shop. On his day-to-day basis, we see him chained to a pole where he gets up and goes to the gift shop where he works at the museum, and you see him go through all his day-to-day lives and all of that. And it's quite funny actually. There are actually some funny aspects and funny slangs you have in between. And as he goes on to his day-to-day lives, when he goes back to sleep,
Hello, and welcome to Staying Awake.
I have a sleeping disorder. I can't tell the difference between my waking life and dreams.
Hello, and welcome to Staying Awake.
he actually tapes up his door at night. He locks everything because he realizes that in the night, somehow mysteriously, he loses track of time, he loses track of days. Sometimes he ends up in places where he never knew he was at. So this was all very suspicious to him, and that's why he always chained himself to the wall. And he also has a pet goldfish which he feeds and all. And then this series also shows us a bit on how Moon Knight works. Moon Knight is basically also known as Mark Spector. In this series, in this first episode, they keep calling him Mark because and we know based on this first episode that Mark is actually living inside Stephen Grant. So therefore, Stephen can actually hear how Mark speaks. And sometimes they take over. And then we also saw how he managed to get into an action scene where suddenly Stephen Grant appeared in this field where he didn't know where he was, and suddenly he had this type of like a bug sort of symbol on his hand, and people were chasing him after it, and in between he would suddenly lose consciousness, and suddenly Mark would appear and fight off the evil, and suddenly it goes back to Stephen Grant. So it's a very very interesting on how Stephen Grant and Mark Spector keep changing from person to person. And it was all very inspired by Egyptian gods. The show also explained about Egyptian gods, about each god there was, like Amenet and all. It's all very interesting. And at the last part of this episode, we also get to see Moon Knight's true form and how Moon Knight came about, because there will be this type of a beast type of dog which comes to attack Stephen Grant, because Stephen Grant had the bug thing in possession which he had gotten earlier because of Mark Spector. Therefore, in the last part, we get to see Mark Spector become Moon Knight and destroy the beast.
Embrace the chaos.
Therefore, I think I'm very excited for this series because it is gonna be quite of a interesting, thrilling, and kind of like a dark type of series, which is personally one of my favorites because I loved the Arrow last time from DC, and I think Moon Knight would have some resemblance of those type of theme from that show. And hopefully it's very interesting, and I will catch you back later for the full review on Moon Knight. Peace.